Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Peace. I'm YouTube famous now. Available on iTunes in 2018. 2018, oh my God. If you had told me a year ago that this is what my life would have looked like, I don't know that I would have ever in a million years believed it, honestly. And so I wanted to do some kind of very funny intro to this because that's what I do. But this is going to be a little bit more of a serious video. Not like serious depressing, but serious kind of like in the manner that I do my Peterisms channel. So if you guys watch my Peterisms channel or you watch my vlog, we're gonna talk about some things on here today that I think are very important and very pertinent to a lot of what's going on recently, you know? And before I get into this video though, I do wanna say this. I have received so many congratulations today and I wanna thank you guys for all of that, okay? I would love to make some, video having a party about all that, but I've been there before, so close to the finish line, and then had something happen that I'm kind of just like waiting right now. So, but I do want to say, and I have notes for this video today because what I'm going to say in this video is like vital, I think, to how I live my life. And I want to be able to even just help one person out there because recently in the last couple days, I've gotten so many messages from people that have said, I have had people like this in my life that have tried to take me down. I don't know what to do. What do I do? And, or they'll say like, how are you handling this the way that you are and things like that. And, the reality is I've been sober since I was 22 years old. I have 23 years of a recovery program that I can just fall back on, of like a design for living in a toolbox. But even then it gets tough, right? And so like I said the other day, I have to go to things like, like meditation books and quotes and, videos of Oprah and Dr. Phil and all of these people, these gurus that I've looked up to all of my life that I think have a way of turning wisdom into like layman's terms so that I can understand them, because sometimes I don't get this stuff, right? But I was thinking about all of this today and I was reading through my Twitter and it was just phenomenal, the support that I have received. So thank you so much, first of all. But I was thinking about the fact that I had just finished reading. Okay, so I have a booktube channel. I know a lot of people are like, you have a book, what? I have a booktube channel and on there I read books and I review them and I do book hauls and all that kind of stuff. And I had just finished reading Wonder by R.J. Palacio. They just made this into a movie with Julia Roberts. And this is like a book in the booktube community that everybody has read, kind of like Harry Potter, and I'm the last one to the game. And I listened to it on Audible, and I'll never forget driving around late one night listening to it, which is what I do if you watch my vlogs. And I was driving around listening to it, and there's a part throughout the whole book where Augie, the main character who has a facial deformity, and he's made fun of for it, and he doesn't fit in and all that kind of stuff. His teacher makes him come up with quotes to live by, basically like mottos to life. And Augie's quote is, I think there should be a rule that everyone in the world should get a standing ovation at least once in their lives. And I was thinking about that today and it's like, I'm just this guy, that has his dog sitting right next to him, that I'm just like praying that this wasn't my last Christmas with. And that I just hang out with my good Judy and go to the Meijer and get fountain Cokes and the support that I'm receiving and I don't know, it feels kind of like a standing ovation, I guess. I just want to thank you guys. It made me feel very, very special, even if just for one day. So, I don't know what's going to happen going forward. I don't know what's going to happen in 2018. A lot of people have been like, are you going to continue to do drama videos? Yes, I'm going to continue to do drama videos. I'm going to continue to do funny haha videos. And I actually wanted to talk about that today because there's somebody that I've talked a lot about on my channel, but I don't think that this person really knows how much they inspire me, and that is Shane Dawson. And one of the reasons why Shane Dawson really inspires me is, I think he is such a creative, entity. I mean, he is beyond creative genius. And not only that, but I've read both of his books, and they're just, I don't even know, he's such an incredible man, and I think he holds such humility. And I look at him and I see him do all these funny haha videos, But then he throws out a series like he's been doing recently where, like, you know, he goes and he meets his father, or, you know, he confronts his hater. And he has this ability to take his platform and really use it for something positive and use it for something good, which is what I have been begging YouTubers to do for the last 6 months, you know? And so I think that I would be amiss if I didn't, going forward, figure out how to do all of this in the way of, like I've been doing recently, giving suggestions at the end of the videos, but even taking that one step further and trying to be like just a really positive force within, you know, the YouTube community, no matter how big or small I am, you know, and encouraging, you know, other, you know, YouTubers, no matter how big or small they are, to use their platforms for good. Because I will say this, Shane Dawson has changed me in the last few months. He has made me look at people and things in different ways. And today I was having a conversation with my good Judy Tanya. You know, I was like, we were talking about videos and stuff like that. She's like, what are you going to put out today? And I was like, I want to put out something kind of funny. I said, do you want to do a video with me? And she was like, I can't do a video with you today, but I might be able to this weekend. And my husband and I are doing a video together tomorrow. So, and then Sunday, Tanya and I might go into the new year with a video, I don't know. But she was saying to me, because I was with her very, very late last night, and what happened was, okay, so my best friend owns a kennel, okay? She is loaded with dogs, like, I think they have like 100 plus dogs right now. And she went over to check on the dogs, and she noticed that the propane tank was really low. Well, the guy that comes and like fills the propane tank, like, he's just supposed to take care of that. She doesn't have anything to do with that. So she's stressed out, and she called the gas company, and they were like, you need to just like, you know, shut the gas off. She's like, I can't shut the gas off. I have 100 animals here, okay? And so she's trying to figure out, like, where do I move these animals? Do I move them to my barn? Do I move them to my, you know, like, my house? What do I do, you know? And because she's such a huge animal lover. And I was like, you know, whatever you need me to do. And her husband were there, like, I mean, way late until the night. And the guy from the gas company finally showed up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and replaced the propane. And she said to me, she goes, you know what? I wanted to be such a dick to this guy. I wanted to be such an asshole because I was really hurt and he had really wronged me. And she said, but I didn't. You know, he came out there and he said, hey, listen, this is totally my fault. He took total ownership. And he said, you know, I'm really, really sorry. If you had seen my list for the last week, it's no excuse, but I just should have been on top of it. And I promise you it'll never happen again. And Tanya said, like, in that moment, like his humility, she was like, no problem, you know, have a wonderful New Year's and whatever. And that's who I aim to be. And I find that kind of peace in other people. But it's hard when you're surrounded by toxic people in your life, you know? And I've talked a lot about toxicity, toxic thoughts, and toxic people on my Peterisms channel. I've talked about it a lot on there. And I always get these messages from people and they're like, you know, like, well, what do you do if it's a family member? What if you do if it's a close friend? And to me, honestly, you don't treat them any different than you would treat anybody else that's toxic in your life. So I wanted to talk about some quotes that I had found, some like pieces of wisdom that I had found really thinking about how to remove toxicity from your life. Because for me, and I will tell you, I have very few toxic people in my life. I don't allow it, okay? And honest to God, I have had conversations where I look at people in the eye and I say to them, I will not allow you to treat me this way, period, end of story. I'm too important. And it took me a long time to get to the point where I could actually say, I'm too important, but I am. I'm too important for this, you know? That I'm not gonna allow you to treat me the way that you're treating. There's nothing right about it. And you know, it's really hard when you're around toxic people because they're so manipulative and calculating that like you're constantly dealing with that you never have a chance to stand up for yourself. So I wanted to kind of go through this today because I get, whenever I do, like on my Peterisms channel, a video about toxic people, I get tons of messages with people asking me like, well, how have you dealt with this in the past and stuff? So I want to say this. These are just like random pieces of wisdom that I found. The one thing that you have to do is that you have to draw a solid no, okay? A line in the sand that this is unacceptable to me and I will no longer accept this behavior because I am only wanting peace and serenity in my life, right? And the problem a lot of times is, and I was watching this in a video, and this is so profound what she said, is that, you know, a lot of times we draw the line in the sand with negative and bad, toxic people, but then what happens is they push us, and so we step back. They push us, and we step back. What we need to do is we need to have a solid no, and say, no is no, no, like, I'm done, like, this is it. Do you not get this? I'm standing here. Do you see me? Like, I'm not going anywhere, right? And that's vital, I think, to our existence of being able to, I'm like taking my notes off one by one. I'm such a professional. So anyway, but it's important, you know, to like say no. Like, I have had so many people just drag through my life, and I'm like, you know, like, have you ever had the friend, and they're so toxic to your life, and you complain about them to everybody, and then you're like, just one day, you're just like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, seriously, I can't take it anymore. I can't take one more text. You know, and it might be even like low, minimal toxicity, but it's like when they'll say things to you like, you're not really a good friend to me, or, you know, like, if you really cared, it's like all of that manipulation, all of that manipulative conversations, you know, like family members are really good with this, you know, and it's like, I could be dancing as fast as I can. I could be the most perfect person in the world, and you would still have these things to say. So you have to draw a solid line in the sand, you know, and you can't back up on your no. The next thing I heard, and this is so profound, is that you cannot forgive what you don't understand. And, you know, it doesn't excuse their behavior, but for example, if you have somebody in your life that's toxic because they're an addict, or somebody in your life that's toxic because they have mental health issues, or somebody in your life that's toxic because they're a narcissist or something like that, right? And I have had all three of those in my life at any given time. It doesn't mean you excuse them. It doesn't mean you say, okay, well, like, and I talk a lot about addiction. You guys know that, right? It's not like you say, well, they're an addict, they're an alcoholic, or, you know, they're a narcissist, so they don't know any better. No, that's not an excuse, okay? They need to go get help for those issues, right? And our job is to draw boundaries around that. And I came up with this quote, and I want to read you guys this quote because in dealing with narcissists, I think this quote is like vital, okay? And I read it and I was like, this is how I have felt much of my life and even recently in dealing with very toxic people. And the quote is, and it's from a recovery from dealing with narcissists. For those of us with a conscience, it's hard for us to understand, comprehend, or accept that narcissists are such cold-blooded beings. We have lived our whole lives living. We don't get how easily someone can hate us, lie about us, and conspire to get others to believe them. On top of the unprovoked trauma we experienced, we end up having to defend ourselves against a manipulating liar. All for nothing. And you know, like, that's what's so frustrating, I think, a lot of times, is that when we're up against these people, whether it's a supervisor, whether it's a coworker, whether it's a sister, whether it's a family member, whether it's an estranged friend, whatever it is, a lot of times they win. And you're like, I have done all of this work and I have, you know, spun my wheels, and they've ended up winning. For what? Like, why did I work that hard, right? And it's so exhausting. And there has to become a time when you say, enough. Enough is enough. Like, no. Like, you're just out of my life. I'm done with you. I am not feeding into anything that you have to say. I am not playing into that. I'm done. Like, you're done. Like, you know, like, I love that Oprah always says, you know, like, don't give in to the haters. You just don't, right? You don't give in to the haters. You don't pay them any attention, right? And, there's no, you know, it's like what I was talking about in my video the other day when Maya Angelou told Oprah, she said, but see, you're not in that, right? Like, that has nothing to do with you. You're not in that. Like, when all those people are talking about you and they're, you know, wondering this and what, like, you're not in that. Like, it has nothing to do with you. And, like, I have really struggled with that, like, my entire life, you know? And I think the problem is that I trust way too easily. Like, I get my feelings hurt so often because I really, really trust people. And like I've said, and I say this a lot, I believe people deserve 5th, 9th, 18 chances. And I give people chances over and over and over again. And the reality is, you know, like, what I should have learned the first time takes me 3 times, takes me 10 times, you know? It's like, and she says this too, like, this is one of her Oprah's things, is like, we don't learn from the whisper, we don't learn from the feather, we don't learn from the brick wall, we don't learn from the mountain, we learn from the crash upside our head. Why does it take us that long to realize that somebody is so toxic and negative in our lives and to get rid of them completely, you know? The next one is, when you expect someone to love, oh God, this quote, I love this quote so much. Because I have dealt all my life with having really high expectations for people, and they all, do you know what I mean? Like, when you just expect somebody to be like a good friend to call you when you're down, or, you know, to check in with you, or like, and I've learned over time that those are really high expectations for a lot of people, you know, that I need to really lower my expectations. And just because I behave in a certain way doesn't mean that everybody else will, you know? When you expect someone to love on a gallon level and they're a pint person, your expectations are too high, and you'll be frustrated all your life. Remove them love them, forgive them, and move on. So this whole idea of, expecting somebody that loves on, like a pint level, you want them to be this gallon-sized person, right? And you expect that of them because they're charismatic and they're intriguing and whatever. But the reality is they don't have that capacity, And we just don't have any. I'm like, where am I going? Anyway, we don't. My notes. But like, they don't have that capacity, And so to some degree, we kind of have to like say, okay, this is sick. You're a sick person. You need help. But like, I don't need to be part of that. And I need to set a strong boundary in my life. And the thing is this, and I think this is really, really important, is that whenever we engage with somebody that's a negative force or is toxic, whether that's from afar and we're just kind of watching what they're doing, or whether we are, like best friends with them, or whether they're a family member, no matter what level we're engaging with somebody that is toxic, we are allowing that toxicity, that negativity, and that chaos into our hearts, into our lives, and it has effect, okay? So we start thinking that way, which is why I do not allow toxic people in my life. I just don't. Period. I will not allow you to treat me that way. Period, The next thing is that you have to focus. This is what Maya Angelou said to Oprah. You have to focus on the brightness of your own light. Those people can't hold a candle to your brightness. Therefore, they have to take you down. And there's so many people out there that are toxic that like their intent is, if I can't have what you have, if I can't, like, it's like when your friend, like, I have a very good friend of mine, and he's very successful, and he went to medical school, and he always got the best grades, and on and on and on and on and on, And it's like, there were moments when like, I was doing well, but not as good as him. But like, my job as his friend was just to sit back and be happy for him, Like, that's my job as a friend, to be happy for somebody else. Not to be jealous, not to be envious, not to have some intent to ruin them or take down their lives. Like, that's sick-minded, right? Like, that's sick. And whatever level we engage with that, whether it's watching them from afar or being best friends with them, like, we're allowing that into our hearts. Like, that's dangerous to our own well-being, And that's when you have to say to yourself, I'm important enough that I will not allow that toxicity into my life. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is that, like, I had watched this video that Dr. Phil does, because a lot of people say, well, how do you know if somebody is toxic, or how do you know if somebody is like a bad person, right? And he did this video, and I thought it was really interesting. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to link it below. But it's Dr. Phil identifies bad guys with 8 warning signs. And the warning signs are things like entitlement, arrogance, deception, when they're talking about like, oh, like I'm doing to you what I've done to somebody else, all these kinds of things, body language. And it's interesting when you watch this video, because looking back on my life, like I knew people like this at 15, at 25, at 45, I know people like this. And it's like, why didn't I see the warning signs earlier? Like, why didn't I see, like, this is, a cloud in the distance, and it's like pouring down rain. Like, I should have seen that I was going to get soaked. You know what I mean? But you can't sometimes. And the best thing that you can do, like I've said, is that you can take those situations, you can draw a line in the sand and say, I'm done, okay? I will not allow you to treat me this way. I'm done. I'm not going to allow you to treat me this way anymore. I'm done with it. But then you have to move on. You have to forgive those people and move on. And the reason why this video was so important for me to make today is that a month is going to go by, 6 months is going to go by, people are going to forget what's happened, okay? They shouldn't, but people will. And I want this video to be out there on this channel, because I've talked a lot about it on my Peterson's channel, but I think all of us in life have toxic people that we deal with. And, it's really hard when you don't know what to do with that. When you have no tools in your toolbox and you're all alone and it's coming towards you. So I just want to say one last thank you in this video for all of the people that have allowed me to just do a trust fall on your hands, because I alone, I don't know sometimes how much I can take, and I have felt very empowered in the last couple days. It has been absolutely amazing, and it's just lit the light within inside of me, and I want that for all of you. I want all of you guys to have that special moment where you get the standing ovation, because like Augie from Wonder says, everybody deserves it once in their life. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.